Well, it doesn't get any better than that to start a Saturday afternoon here in South Africa. As you can see, we have the beautiful Xidulu up in a marula tree, and so pretty easy way to start the day, I would say. We kind of had a very quick track. It lasted all of about 2 seconds, where we kind of picked up her tracks on top of Wiem and Brent's tracks from this morning's walk and looked up into the marula tree, and there, sitting pretty, is the beautiful Xidulu. So how cool is this? Such an epic way to start. Now, before I get too excited about it all, my name is Tristan, and on camera I've got Wiem with me, and I'm sure Wiem is a very happy man already that we found some spots, as am I, and so it's been a spotty day, that's for sure. Now, it seems as though Xidulu has kind of spent most of the day here. She was spotted at one point during the day, and it sounded like she was on a different tree, and then we kind of followed her tracks a little bit and found her here. So it's going to be very, very cool to see what she gets up to this afternoon. You can see she's kind of peering out, so she's just starting to wake up. Now remember, we are live, so we would like to hear from all of you. If you are as excited as I am about having spots to start the afternoon, then we want to hear from you, and you can do that on hashtag Safari Live on Twitter or on the YouTube chat. Now, I'm hoping that she is going to start stirring. Oh, there we go. She might just reposition herself. She's got a little itchy neck. One thing that is very, very obvious from Xidulu standing up in the tree is that she is not pregnant. So we've been kind of thinking maybe she is, maybe she isn't, just obviously because she mated with Hukumuri a while ago, and she should start showing around now, and she's not at all. So she's not sort of, I don't think the last mating session with Hukumuri was successful, but you never know. Maybe that's why he is here. I believe that Wiem was saying she was following his tracks all the way. Now it looks like she's going to come down and start waking up. So perfect timing. Or are you going to go to another branch, girl? I'm going to reposition ourselves just quickly because we've got the sun and it's really kind of hammering poor Viem's ability to do much because of the sky being so white. Puma, if you look at her, absolutely fine. She doesn't look as though there's a scratch on her after the fight. She's got one little scratch over her nose, and it looks as though she's otherwise absolutely perfect, which is really, really good. And so hopefully she's climbing fine, she's walking fine, she seems to be her normal self, so that's all good news. Hello, girl. You are very pretty, you know that. She's a seriously good-looking cat, and are you going to come lie on the branch for us and be a poser? It looks that way. Looks like she's going to come where there's a bit of sun, just to make sure that we can see just how pretty she is. But if you look at her, very little signs of injuries anywhere. I don't know if this fight was as serious as it was kind of first made out to be. And funny enough, I do think it was Thandi in the fight. Now, I know that goes against what I was saying the other day when I had Thandi. And the reason why I say that is because today, or actually, sorry, last night, was the first time that I got a look at photos of Thandi from the sighting that we had, and she has a massive cut inside her ear. It's very difficult to see it, but on her left ear, Thandi had this big cut down there, and she's got a cut on her tummy. And I believe when the guys were telling me about the sighting, that the leopard that ran away, or that got out of the way when that male arrived, had a cut on her ear, and was bleeding from the ear and from the stomach. And so that must have been Thandi. Well, I think it's Thandi that was in that fight, given that there are cuts within her ear, and the one in her ear is quite big and quite sort of long. And so I'll try and find a photo of it and try and kind of show you guys tomorrow. I don't have them with me, but maybe some of you want to go back and look at some of the screenshots from not yesterday, the day before, and you'll have a look and just look inside her left ear and you'll notice them. But she seems to be watching something. I don't know what it is. You can see she's very hot. It is a warm, warm afternoon. It's kind of been a hot day, and so I don't know how long she's going to sit out in the sun like that. I think she might find herself another branch just to go and lie in and just kind of keep the shade and stay as cool as possible. It's why she's breathing so heavily. Now, I know it's been a hot day because we've actually had a day of fun, actually. We spent most of our day out in the communities. It is Djuma's 25th anniversary today, and so we went out and we had a bit of festivities, and we actually have left Brent still out and about. Anyway, we is walking right past us, as you're going to see shortly. She's going to pass my head, so I'm going to try and get out of the way and through past the front of the car. So she's just on a slow little amble. She's marking her territory a little bit. She's been to the loo, she's scent marked on one of the marulas, and now she's just kind of walking off. The problem is that she's going to be quite difficult to follow in the direction she's going. She's going to go into quite thick, dense areas, and one thing I do like about Xidulu is her tail, and thank you very much, Xidulu, you've just popped your tail up right on cue. I was going to say that she has this big, thick, fluffy tail. It's very, very cool to see. Her tail is much bigger than what we see on Thandi and some of the other females around. It's very cool, and so she shoved it up in the air, as we were talking about it, I don't know why, there's nothing alarm calling at her really, so it was perfect on cue for her to do so. Thank you, Xidulu, that was very kind of you. I was hoping you were going to do that, and she's still doing it. She's like, look at my tail, look at how cool it is, I want to show you my tail, and kind of walking along. Now she's dropping it down. So Jason, Xidulu is another one of our young females. So we have 2 young females at the moment, Kuchava, who's about just over 4, and Xidulu, who's just approaching 4 years old. So they kind of are very similar, and they are going to be the future queens, even though both of them are still kind of settling a little bit into their respective areas and are still not quite 100% dominant. They are definitely going to be the future queens of this area, and by the looks of things, Xidulu is going to take this sort of western side. She's almost as though she's decided that it doesn't matter what Shadow and Tundi want, this is going to be her tree. Now, funny enough, some of you might remember a few months ago that there was a interaction or altercation with Scotty and Shadow and Tundi in a tree. Now, I don't know if any of you remember that, but that tree that Xidulu is sitting in right now is the exact same tree that Shadow and Tundi had a bit of a dispute with that kill in the tree itself. So it just goes to show where she actually is in relation. We're just off quarantine at the moment, and so she's now moving back westwards and heading, hopefully, kind of, well, we'll stay in our area for the afternoon, but she is heading back towards the sort of western side. You can see she's on the road now and just kind of striding along. Exactly, Pearl, you're right. She's sticking her tail up as if to say, look, boys, the grass is long, so you need to follow this big white tail, and you can go that way, and we'll be able to keep sight of her. So she's being very obliging. But look at her tail. It really is very fluffy. It's kind of got this big, fluffy white end to it. It reminds me a little bit of Inchila's tail as well. Inchila had the same thing, hence her name being Inchila, which means tail. But very, very cool. We are still with Xidulu, but we are probably now not even 10 minutes from her crossing over the boundary if she keeps walking the way that she is. She's just marching straight west. Every now and then she stops and sniffs on the edges, but otherwise she's on a mission to head back to the western side, which is not ideal for us. I was hoping she was going to relax. Please go up the termite mound. Go up the termite mound. Be a good girl. Are you going to go up the termite mound? Is she? Placing bets? Wiem, up the termite mound or not? What do you think? You think yes, eh? Nope. I think she's going to turn. There she comes back. So it's beautiful when she walks through that long grass, though. Very, very pretty. And still bobbing about. Typical little leopard sort of walk. The way that they sort of swing their hips and kind of move. They have this little sort of, you know, little strut that they've got. I always love it when you're kind of following a leopard. And they have this kind of little sort of, I don't know what the word is. Maybe a sway of the hips is probably the best way to describe it. But she's hungry. She must be looking for food, and I'm seriously surprised she's walking in this heat. It is very warm, and it's hot and uncomfortable, and that's why I'm surprised that she's up and moving. She had such a nice spot on top of that tree that, you know, I would have thought maybe, just maybe, she was going to try and find herself a nice kind of comfy branch and just lie down again. But it seems as though she's interested in something. Yes, go that way. Go that way, girl. That's the right way. Off you go. Head south. So if she keeps going this way, it's going to be really, really good for us, because this is going deeper. Well, southwards is going still inside Djuma. West is not a good idea. West we don't want to see, because if she goes west, then we're going to struggle to keep up with her. But what has she spotted? Seems like she spotted something. I can't see anything. Let's just have a little look. It's kind of facing back in, which is good. You see the noses to the air every now and then. She's sniffing about. What are you smelling? She's sniffed all over the place. She hasn't marked anywhere, which means I don't think there's another leopard. She hasn't flehmen grimaced. I think maybe she's smelt some sort of prey item, and that's what she's busy following. Maybe some warthogs have moved through here, maybe a steenbok or a duiker, something like that has walked in this area, and maybe that's what she's trying to sniff out. You see, look at her nose. You see how she's sniffing. So that's not so. If it was another leopard, she would be flehmen grimacing, and she would have a situation where she's trying to kind of mark on top, whereas this is not like that at all. This is more behavior where she's trying to maybe find a certain animal that she wants to try and hunt. And look how she's very careful about the way she walks. Very different behavior to a scent marking leopard. So even though she's smelling, it doesn't necessarily mean that there's another leopard around. It means more that she's probably in hunt mode. And like I was saying, she is looking as though she could do with a meal, and so I'm pretty sure she's hungry, and that's why she's going to start moving through and hopefully take us into this thicket where we're going to start seeing her maybe trying to chase after some sort of prey animal. That's maybe what she spotted from the tree, is something walking down this road, and that's why she came this way. So, Karen, leopards don't really have a smell, to be honest. When they walk past you like this, when they're very close in proximity to where you are, there really is no smell that you pick up at all. In fact, the grasses and... So Xidulu just went sprinting off down the road back the way we've just come, and I can't see what she's chasing. I don't know if there's maybe warthogs here or a steenbok or something like that, but she went shooting off down the road, and she's just cut in behind this termite mound again. There she is there, so she's stopping and watching. I have no idea what she actually saw, but she went running full speed kind of down the road to this termite mound and then stopped behind the termite mound as if she was expecting something to run out from behind it and grab it. So I don't know what exactly she's hunting, but she is hunting something. She's definitely on the trail of something. You can see, look at how perked up her ears are. She's super aware of what's going on around her at the moment. So she's looking, she's listening, and she'll even be using the senses from her whiskers and her nose to be able to try and pick up exactly where this animal's gone. But whatever it was, it obviously came bolting this side towards this area. Now she's going back to the area that she first kind of came from again. Xidulu, what's going on, girl? Where are you off to, and what are you actually hunting, is my question. I'm going to reverse back first because that's going to be easier for me to get in on the other side of this termite mound. There's a very big game path here that's really nice for bushwalks, and so it's much easier to follow this than to go bushwhacking through all of the other stuff that she's going towards. She should pop out right in front of me on this path somewhere. Just got to now work out where exactly she was. Problem is also if she runs again, it's going to be difficult to see her. Oh, there she is. She's in the tree. So she's not going to pop out on the path if she's up there. She's being a typical posing cat. Let's get you round, Vim. Now, there's a few branches, unfortunately, that are obscuring the view, but isn't that epic? So she's up on this fallen over tree. She's giving herself a little height, just checking what's going on, where this potential prey animal has moved, and how she's going to go about getting towards where it is. The good news is that it seems as though whatever it is that she's watching is deeper inside Djuma, so it's taking her in rather than away, which is fantastic for us, and hopefully she's going to keep kind of forging her way southeast rather than heading west. And I'm 100% sure that she spotted this from the tree itself. So she came down the tree and she knew exactly where she was going, and then she got into a sniffing sort of mode, and I think she worked out that something was moving this way, and then she came this side. Remember, from up in a tree, your field of view is much more than down on the ground. So Liz, Xidulu first started to come into this northern part of the Sabi Sands. Remember, she comes from Londolozi, Ottawa area. So we started to see her for the first time at the end of middle of 2016, sorry. And so she was around in 2016, and then she went sort of around Arathusa, back towards Londo's, hung around that area, and then she really kind of has established herself over the course of 2017, and only now in 2018, the beginning of 2018, as she really started to push into the Djuma side. And it's because there's been this kind of disappearance of shadow in this section and the arrival of Hukamuri, and that's allowed her to move where Hukamuri is moving and pushed her deeper in towards Djuma. And that's why we're seeing so much more of her over the course of the last few months than we did at the sort of end of last year or middle of last year. Now that Tingana's kind of pushed off Hukamuri's deeper here, it's helping her to be able to kind of establish herself in this area. Isn't she beautiful, though? We're very lucky that we have so many of these beautiful females. Now, Kathy, her spot pattern, as far as I remember, is 4-5, I think. I must just double check it, but I think it's a 4-5. I know some of you will remember it offhand. She's definitely got 5 on her left-hand side, so it's 4 and then 1 spot on top. And then I can't remember her right side. Her right side might be 5 or 4. I think it's 4-5. Somebody will be able to correct me. Hashtag Safari Live. And I know James, Michael, a lot of you will know. Now, there's a big spider web here, which I don't really want to break, but unfortunately there's no other way around. Sorry, Vildi. There's no spider on it, which is at least good news. So let's just do that and wrap that around. So that's okay. Right, so now let's try and get in here. Where did she go? I don't know where she went. Right, we're going to try and find her again. We can try to see where she went. While I do that, let's send you back across to Steve. She's still running after what looks like a steenbok. We got a brief view of the steenbok bounding away, and Xidulu running after it again. Now she's just in front here, so got to try and get back towards the road again. So that's what she's chasing. It had to be something like that. It was something that was small and boundy. The way that she was moving about had to suggest that we were kind of following a rather nippy animal. So not something like an impala just walking. She wasn't going into low stalk mode. She was more kind of trying to bound through the grass a little bit. So she should be on the road itself. There we go. She's on the road again, which is good news. And so she's going back now the way we've just come. So it just goes to show that she spotted that steenbok, I'm 100% sure, from the tree itself. And now she's, look, nose to the ground. She's trying to work out where did the steenbok go by scent. Isn't this amazing? Now, normally you think cats hunt solely by sight and by maybe hearing, but she's hunting via her nose, which is absolutely incredible. It goes to show you just how sophisticated their sense of smell is. It's far better than we give them credit for. They obviously are able to pick up small little particles of sort of scent. Sorry, girl, did I drive over a leaf? I'm sorry. Where we would never pick up anything. So that's what she's busy trying to smell for. You'll find it every now and then she'll stop and listen and look. Now, the steenbok didn't see her. The steenbok, unfortunately, just kind of went bounding through the grass, and she was then after it, trying to chase it. So, Emma, cats will not see in color like we do. They mostly, it's a sort of monotone kind of color that they've got in, well, not color, but a monotone effect. And the reason why is that we have two cells in our eyes. So we have cones and rods. Rods are light cells, so they are cells that help us with being able to see in darker conditions. And cones are cells that help us with color. So they be able to differentiate different colors, and that's how we see this vibrant world that we're in. So we have a very high sort of rod and cone count together. They're both kind of very equal, whereas a leopard has very few cones in their eyes. They have mostly rods, and so that allows them to be able to see in very dark conditions. In times when it's really hard for us to see in the middle of the night, they're seeing almost like daylight because they have that many more sort of cells of the light collecting kind, and so they have a lot more rods in their eyes, and that helps them to see, but they have to sacrifice color for that. The other thing is that these guys, unlike us as humans or sort of animals like baboons or monkeys or anything like that, they don't actually need to have a sight that is in color or full vivid color, because their prey animals are prey animals. So it is, as long as it's kind of an animal, they can hunt it. Whereas with something like us, or like a baboon or a monkey, they have to feed off things like fruit, and they need to see when things are ripe, and so they need to be able to have color to be able to see what's going on. Now I'm just going to reverse back. There's a nice little open gap here that I'm hoping she's going to walk kind of parallel with us. See, look, she's still sniffing. I think she's lost the scent now, so she's trying to work out exactly which way the steenbok ran. So if I sit like this, theoretically, the steenbok should have come this way. It came this way. I know it came over the road, so she's probably just trying to work out where exactly the steenbok went. The other thing is that there are generally more than one steenbok together. You very seldom see just the one on its own. The two are normally together as they are monogamous, and so maybe one ran this way, but she's still got her heart set on a different individual that might be that side. But she's kind of she's coming back towards where we are, still with her nose to the ground. There's something just ran. Did you see? Something just ran out of the corner of my eye, and she looked like she was going to go bolting afterwards, but I didn't see where she went. Did you see her, Vildy? Okay, 2 o'clock. I just saw something. Well, Xidulu is, I think, lying down in this grass. She was moving, and then she just decided to plop down again. So I think she's decided she can't find the scent anymore of where this animal ran to. So let's just try and reposition ourselves. Oh, there she is, in the shade. Shame, girl, is it hot? No wonder. You've been running around like a hooligan in this heat. No wonder you're hot. There she is. Just taking a bit of a breather. You can see she's panting quite a bit at the moment, and she's exerted a bit of energy in this heat, so I'm not surprised. So, Robert, a longer tail can be of advantage. I mean, obviously it gets to a point where you know, it gets too long, it might not be too much of a help and more of a hindrance. But remember that a longer tail is going to help with stabilizing this animal. As it's turning, as it's climbing, it's acting as a counterbalance in a way. And it's why cheetah have long, flattened tails, is that it does help them a lot with the way that they move and to be able to turn at high speed. And for a leopard, a long tail is vitally important for them climbing. So if a leopard had to lose its tail, climbing would be a lot harder. You see how she grooms? She's a funny cat. She's busy grooming one leg while rubbing her head with the other. Look, there we go. She's doing that trick. It's like when you have to pat your head and rub your tummy at the same time. That's what she's doing. She's showing us that she's multi-skilled, and so very clever. Well done, Xidulu. But back to the long tails. A longer tail will be effective. Oh, yes, Nikki, she's a girl. That's right. She can do two things at once. I forgot. How silly of me. Why would I ever have doubted that for 1 second? Anyway, she's showing a bit of flexibility too. It looks okay. Obviously our girls don't groom their tummies, but it looks like a yoga class outside FC every now and then when they kind of get into these ridiculous poses, and I don't know how the girls actually contort themselves into some of the things that they do, and they kind of fold themselves over and all kinds of other things, much like what Xidulu is doing now, is just get themselves into a massive tangle by stretching necks and shoulders and legs, and they all just go in different directions. It almost looks like spaghetti sometimes when I walk out of FC and there's yoga going on. There's just hands and legs in all kinds of places that they shouldn't really look like they should come from. But anyway, seems to be effective. The girls seem to enjoy it, and I know that even David, one of our cam-ops, not that he's a girl, enjoys a bit of yoga from time to time as well. But it's now time for a thorough grooming. Nikki says enough about our yoga. Sorry, Nikki, I didn't mean to delve into it too much. It just came up. It was because you mentioned girls. Look, she's picking off a tick. Did you see that? So there was a tick there. Look, she's biting the tick off. That's amazing. That was very cool. She actually got rid of it. It's gone now. I don't know what she did with it. Did you swallow it? I can't imagine it would be tasty. I suppose the tick is just filled with her blood anyway, so it's not really much taste to it. Aiden, who's 6 years old, yes, Aiden, leopards do get tired from walking so much. So what she's doing now is she's catching her breath. Aiden, have you ever run around and run for a long period of time until you feel like you can't breathe anymore and that you're very, very tired? That's how it is for this leopard. So she's run around now trying to chase a steenbok, and she's now kind of trying to catch her breath and rest a little bit because she is tired and she's very hot. That's why her mouth is open and she's kind of breathing heavily. She's panting because she's very warm. The lucky thing for her is that there's a really nice cold wind today, which is going to make her kind of get cooler quicker. But she still is very hot. You can see, look at how fast her tummy is moving as she breathes. So lots and lots of panting, trying to cool that body down, and that's because she's tired now from running around. So, Marcus, yes, leopards do get hairballs and bone balls and all kinds of other things that they can't digest, hooves and the likes, and so every now and then you'll see them cough things up and sort of regurgitate. It's not that often that they do it, but they can do it, and they'll often eat grass to trigger that process. So you sometimes see them eating grass, and then all of a sudden they'll kind of regurgitate bone and hair and all kinds of other stuff that comes up. All right, Xidulu, you caught your breath now. It's time to hunt again. Seems that way. There's a nice big termite mound coming up, so I'm hoping, knowing her, that she's going to go and position herself on that termite mound itself. Right. Liam, what do you think? Back the same way we came or forward? I think forward might be not too bad. Let's try it through here. Looks like we're fairly kind of clear through this way. Now, I'm just trying to kind of get that out the way so that we can just cruise through here. Poor Rusty has been put through the mill today and has been kind of ground up. And so while I try and get through all of this and see if Xidulu does go atop the mound, let's send you back across to Taylor, who I think is headed back to Tingana. Now, whatever's happening, I'm not sure what she's stalking, but she's in full stalk mode at the moment. Look at how carefully she's placing her feet, and it's amazing. She went from walking quite casually to almost stiff as a board, and she's now just slowly creeping through this bush. And you can see, look at how she's delicate about the way she places her feet. She really is in a situation where she's trying to keep as quiet as possible and stealthily move through this grass in order to get closer to whatever she's stalking. I cannot see a single thing at all, so I have no idea what she's looking at. Almost looks like she might get ready to pounce any minute now. Good afternoon and welcome to very sunny South Africa. You might think we are just staring at a bush and that not much is going on, but behind there, look, she's chasing. So it's a leopard chasing a duiker. Unfortunately, she missed it though. That was so close. So she was chasing the duiker and there goes the duiker. That was millimeters away from her catching it. Now, my name is Tristan. On camera, I've got VM, and this is an interactive experience. So we want to hear from all of you. Ask as many questions as you want and post them in the comment section below. But this is just crazy. She was kind of just all of a sudden started stalking, and then she just chased this duiker, and the duiker exploded out of the bush. Unfortunately, though, she's missed. And this is exactly how leopards work, is that they are ambush predators. So they'll try and jump onto the animal and get it before it's able to run, and be able to kind of sort of get it right there. They don't have the speed to chase something like a little antelope like that because it's just too fast for them. It moves too quick. They're not like a cheetah or a lion that's able to catch those kind of things. Now, Bobby, this is a leopard known as the Xidulu female. She is a fairly new female leopard to our western side, and she's been coming in more and more and more over the course of the last few months. And so she's a leopard that we've been seeing a lot now, and she's very, very cool. She's one of our favorites, and many people love her. She's a beautiful female and active, often hunting. It's a warm afternoon at the moment. It's hot. I wouldn't have expected a leopard to be moving, and when we found her, she was actually lounging in a big tree, just resting, and then all of a sudden she popped down onto the ground and started hunting. And so she's in full hunting mode at the moment, trying to look for food. Now, Jeff, you say she's beautiful. She is a very, very pretty girl. She's a young female, so she's yet to have her first litter of cubs. So she's not even 4 years old yet. Well, she's approaching 4. And so she's still kind of yet to have her first cubs, and she's still youthful, but incredibly pretty. Now, she should be somewhere closer. Here she is. She's right in front of me, so I just need to get through this gap. So I believe a lot of you were saying that was absolutely incredible. So there she is. She's still kind of on the hunt and still looking around for more prey animals, because where there's one duiker, there's often a second, given that they are territorially dominant pairs that live together. So maybe she'll continue to hunt through the afternoon. Now, we're going to carry on following her, but you can catch us all on Safari Live. We do this twice a day. Remember, just Google Safari Live and you'll be able to find our different platforms that we broadcast. And so it's been an absolute pleasure. I hope that you enjoyed that exhilarating chase, and we'll see you all next time. How crazy was that? That was so cool. Like, she just went from 0 to 100 in 2 seconds and then was right on top of it. I don't know how she missed that duiker. I don't know. It was so close. And Wildy, you're an absolute champion. As Nikki's just said in my ear, to follow that is not easy at all. That happens in a blink of an eye. It looks almost like slow motion when you watch it back, but in real life, in real time, to follow that is a serious skill. And so Fergus the other day with that new male leopard hunting warthogs, and Wildy today on point. So our cameramen, we do really have very good cameramen that film all of this stuff. So well done, Wildy. That was epic. It's amazing, though. Isn't that very cool? I thought it was incredible. And she was so close. That duiker just jumped out of the way. She was almost on its bum, and if she had just gotten a paw onto it, that would have been tickets for that duiker, and she would have been onto it in a flash. So hopefully she's going to continue to hunt through the course of the afternoon. She's providing absolutely epic sort of sighting this afternoon in the hot weather. And so often we get asked, when is a peak time of activity for leopards? Well, this you can see right now, any time of the day. A leopard is an opportunistic animal. When it feels like there's an opportunity to hunt, it will take it. It doesn't matter if it's bright, hot sunshine or middle of the night. They will hunt when they feel like they need to, and when they feel like there's an opportunity to do so. And particularly now in this, when the grass is as long as this, they can still afford to hunt during the course of the day. You can see that duiker didn't even see her coming, which is pretty amazing. So, Christine, you were in fact was it Steve, sorry, were asking exactly this, as to whether leopards are mostly by day or by night in terms of hunting. So, Christine, I was right the first time. Sorry, Christine. But so leopards, like I was just referring to, are very opportunistic. They, middle of the day, middle of the night, but generally their most active periods are around dusk and dawn. So that's when they like to move around, in that kind of twilight period. A lot of their hunting is just before the sun rises or just after the sun sets, and they go into a situation. Is she stalking again? It looks like she might be stalking again. Hold on. She's kind of got a... No, she's just sniffing now. I thought she had gone bolt straight again, but she's definitely still on the hunt for something this afternoon. She's not going to stop, I don't think, until she catches herself a meal, whether that be a little scrub hare or something more substantial like a duiker or a steenbok remains to be seen. But let's see how we go. It's going to be interesting nonetheless. She's moving around a lot and is going to hopefully be still on our side for some time to come. She's still moving around on our side and going deeper back now into Djuma, which is very, very good. Amazing, though. We have been thoroughly spoiled with spots today, so if you didn't catch us this morning, we had an epic morning where Taylor, obviously, she's went and followed up now on Tingana, and we had Kuchava and Cub. So theoretically, we've had 4 leopards this in less than 24 and 12 hours, which is absolutely insane. So we've been thoroughly spoiled today, and we've really kind of been given amazing sightings from a point of view that all of the 4 leopards that we've seen have actually been up to something. So Tingana this morning was watching things and looking. Obviously, Kuchava and Cub this morning was very cool, and now Xidulu is just putting on an absolute show. Now, I don't think she's on the trail of anything just yet. She's still looking around and still sniffing, so we're going to keep up with her, and hopefully we'll get another hunt coming our way. But while we do that, let's send you back across to Steve in the tent, who I'm sure is up to something. He's generally got all kinds of tricks up his sleeve. See how her tail goes like... So we were just talking about her starting to stalk again, and she's gotten so much more serious. She kind of was peeking over the grass, and now she's kind of relaxed a bit again. It's interesting with her, when she starts to get very intrigued in something, her tail goes dead straight and kind of points like an arrow, almost like she's a pointer dog. And you see, look, she starts to slow down and she starts to step very gingerly. So I think she's located something else to try and chase. And this block is obviously just full of all kinds of small antelopes for her to go after. So everything from steenbok and duikers to scrub hares, but she's definitely moving incredibly slow, inching her way forward. So I'm sure she's found herself another prey item to try and stalk, and she's just worming her way as close as she can to whatever she thinks is there. So it's incredible the frequency at which she's chasing animals at the moment. It just goes to show you how much work leopards go through to get a kill. I mean, we often find them with a kill and you think, oh, they must have just chased it. But you can see we've already had 2 failed hunts where she's chased 2 different animals. She's chased a steenbok and a duiker, and now she seems to have latched on to something else. But I'm going to try and just reposition ourselves by giving a very wide berth. So I'm going to try... Well, no, she's coming back now, so I don't know. Maybe she lost what she was just trying to stalk. Let's just try and get around him. I'm going to be a bit careful here because old Archie the aardvark has made a big mess here and had lots and lots of holes all over the place. Ooh. So Hayden, who's 6 years old, difficult to say. Leopards are very, very good at hunting in anything, really, but I would say the thicker the vegetation, the easier for a leopard. It's the more they can hide away, the more that their spots kind of blend in, and particularly in areas where you've got lots of trees and lots of shade, Hayden, that's going to be a really good place for a leopard to go. But there's aardvark holes everywhere here, so we are trying to just negotiate this without disappearing into one of them. So I was saying Archie the aardvark, that's what I've named our aardvark that we saw last night, is Archie. So he's obviously been very busy here and digging all over the place, causing a bit of havoc, and then his friends the elephants have come along and expanded on that and probably dug up some roots. So it doesn't seem like she's still got anything, but she's kind of got onto a game path now and walking down, but definitely intent on hunting this afternoon and trying to find food. So, Patrick, a leopard doesn't have to actually eat every single day in order to survive. They're a little bit different to a lot of animals, and remember that when they kill something, often it weighs anywhere between, obviously they eat insects and those kind of things and can be very small, but most of their kills are anywhere between 20 kilograms and 90 kilograms, and so that's a lot of food, and they'll mass eat for a good sort of 2-3 days, which will make them incredibly full. They'll be so saturated with food that they can then last 2, 3, 4 days without feeding again. So they don't actually require food every single day in order to survive. So it's difficult to put a figure on how much they need to eat in order to survive every single day. They have a situation where they can kind of... what's she doing now? Now she's kind of coming back towards us again. Still in that very stalky mode. She's got her tail dead straight. And this is what I was saying. When she decides she wants to stalk, her tail goes straight. There you go. Look at that. Dead straight again. And now it's just starting to curl as she moves. Really weird that she does it. It's the first leopard I've ever noticed this on. Most leopards, the tail drops very low down. But hers almost gets dead straight as though she's figuring things out. And look how slowly she's walking. It's absolute lesson in the mastery of a leopard and how they hunt. Slow and steady, and listen and smell and try and kind of be as stealthy as possible. It's incredible to watch. They have amazing patience, a leopard, and the way that they go about it is very, very cool. Good. Now we're going to stay with her. We're going to try to keep up with her. I'm pretty sure this is not going to be the last stalking session we have this afternoon. And so while we keep up with her, let's send you back across to Taylor and Tingana, and I wonder if he's going to get up to some stalking this afternoon. I don't know, cheetah are fairly, I think the track is fairly easy to see, but it's just, they tend to walk a lot further than most of the other animals. In fact, they're far more mobile during the day than what you see with something like a leopard or a lion. So for me, they're harder to track than leopards. Also, I just don't think like a cheetah. I've had so little experience with them that I struggle to work out where they're going to go, whereas something like a leopard, luckily spends a lot of time tracking them and lions too, so it makes it much easier to track both of those for me than it is to track a cheetah, although the guys that work with cheetahs regularly say that they're quite easy to track. So it just depends, I suppose, on your experience that you have and kind of areas that you know and individuals that you get to know. It's also very hard to track leopards you don't know in an area that you don't know, so we're just lucky here that we get to know these animals quite well and figure out kind of patterns that they like to walk. But Xidulu is still busy with hunting. She would have been an absolute nightmare to have tracked today. You would have really struggled to track her. She's been round and round and round in circles all over the place, and we are right in the middle of a block now where I don't even think, if I even were able to explain to somebody where to get to, I don't think I would be able to. We literally are slap bang in the middle of this block, and it would take a long time for people to find us, I think. Patrick, I mean, yes, we can't be naive and think that we don't pose a distraction to animals. When a leopard's hunting in thick bush and you hit a branch and it goes clang, that's certainly going to make a prey animal's ears perk up, and it's also going to distract that leopard for 2 seconds. So we can't be naive, and it's why we try, when leopards are hunting or when any animal is hunting, is try and give them as much space as possible. And as soon as you see that they're stalking, to turn off the car immediately, so that you give that animal a chance, both sides of the sort of equation. So you're not just covering the sound of a leopard moving, you're also not attracting attention via your movements. And so we try and be as ethical as possible, but like I say, we can't be that naive that we think us driving around doesn't distract animals from time to time. It most certainly does, and even though you try your very best not to do that and not to give an animal a situation where it's being distracted, every now and then it does happen, and I've seen it by mistake sometimes. I've seen it in a situation where no one really means it. It's just, unfortunately, the way that we follow animals here, and because we have to in some respects, it would be very difficult to view animals here without following them off-road. It would be very tough. You've got to have a situation where you're going to chase things, unfortunately, by mistake, particularly in grass like this. The grass is so long, I could literally drive now and a scrub hare could go bounding out, or a steenbok or a duiker or something like that could move through this area and I wouldn't even know. So, we try our very best not to. Like I say, we try and be as ethical as possible, but sometimes it's not always that easy. Now, talking about ethical, room and slack that I don't even know where she's gone. Where is she now? Bim, you see her? Where did she go? No, I've lost her. Oh no, there she is. She's right here. The nice thing is she's not running around. She's kind of ambling, which the problem is she's going in every direction. Are you going to come back and say hi, Xidulu? She's a gorgeous female though. Look at her. She's got very, very pretty eyes. Beautiful cat. Hello, my girl. I've thoroughly enjoyed the sighting. I'm pretty sure you guys at home have as well. It's just been the most epic kind of display from a leopard of how they go about finding food. Kyle Green, yeah, leopards, they're a nuisance. They always just want to grab the tongs and take over from the braai master. You've got to kind of tell them no and give them the double tap with the tongs to tell them to back off and stop taking over the braai and stop taking over the barbecue. No, I'm just kidding. They're not like that at all. Funny enough, I have actually had leopards come to a barbecue a few times just to come and see what's going on, not because they want to actually sort of get involved or, you know, eat the food off the braai. It's more that they're smelling stuff and they just come and investigate. And there's often with these relaxed cats like this, they'll come within, I don't even know what the distance would be, but sometimes they're in... What are you doing, girl? Are you coming to say hello? Look at how close she's walking. Hello, my girl. What you doing? Isn't that amazing? How cool is that? So cool. She has this fascination with cars that I have no idea where it comes from, but she's kind of sometimes just walks straight up to them. You can see she had lots of room to walk around, and she chose to walk literally right where we were, which is absolutely phenomenal. Very cool. So I've actually had the most epic sightings with this female. The last time I saw her, we had the time where she thought Batman was a piece of steak and wanted to eat her. But, eat him. No, he didn't want to eat him. He was just very interested in what Craig was doing. And the reflection, I think, of her in the lens. But she's a very curious cat. And I suppose the youthful side. But back to the kind of braai stories. Like I say, I've had a lot of leopards show up. And in fact, there was a leopard once in the western sector. And that used to come, and sometimes if there was a barbecue or a braai, would come and sit the distance that we are away from Xidulu now and just watch the whole night. So no matter what you did, she'd just sit there and watch what was going on, and then would wander off and then come back again. And it was almost like just wanted to see what was happening, why there was this gathering of people. And every now and then, kind of in boma dinners that I've had with guests, so boma dinner is generally a dinner that's outside, close to the lodge, under the stars, or a bush dinner. Leopards are animals that you do have regularly coming through those and coming to investigate what's happening. We used to have Salahesh at Sumambili all the time, coming through our bush dinners and coming just to have a little hello and see what was going on. So they are curious animals. When there's some change in their environment, they often do. Now, there's a beautiful big marula that's very close by, so I just want to see if she might pop up that marula. She's heading straight towards it. You can see she's kind of just walking towards that marula itself. So let's see, maybe she's going to go up, and she's looking up into the tree. Let's have a look. Little look. I think she's going to go. There we go. There we go. How's that? That was a good call. Come on. So she's gone up into the tree itself. She loves a tree, this cat. She's going to go more. There we go. Up she goes. And she's going to settle. Let's just try and get a nice view of where she's gone. Very, very, very cool when they get up into trees like this. So worth waiting for. I know she's being accommodating today, Nikki. Everything I kind of have asked her to do, she's done, which has been quite delightful, really. I've thoroughly enjoyed her being so cooperative. It's not every day a leopard is as cooperative as Xidulu is being to us today. Wiem, is that good for you? I know the sky is a little bit white, but at least she's nicely kind of in the fork of that tree. Isn't that amazing? That is, for me, the best sight. I love seeing leopards in trees. It's one of those amazing things. And we were talking about it before drive started. Nikki was saying every time she drives to work, she always checks all those big marulas around quarantine in the hope that she's going to spot a spotty cat. Yes, we're talking about you in a tree. Isn't that wonderful? Look at that. She is beautiful. And it is one of those things. Until you see a leopard in a tree, like this, you really, it takes your breath away. It's amazing to watch a big cat sitting in a tree, and especially a big marula tree, because when I was growing up as a kid, you know, things like seeing a leopard in a tree was a dream. It wasn't something that you got to see very often. Even if you went to the Kruger Park, you wouldn't get to see those things. And then coming to a place like the Sabi Sands and being able to see this on a regular basis is something that I honestly don't think I ever take for granted. It's the one thing with leopards I don't take for granted. There's something about one of them draped over a branch or up in a tree that just evokes I don't know, some sort of emotion from a childhood where it was kind of always that desire to see it. And I don't think anybody that works out here doesn't want to see a leopard lounging in a tree. It's just something about it that makes everybody kind of quite happy. Then let's reposition quickly. She's facing nicely into the sun now, so we should get a really nice sort of, although the sun's disappeared a little bit, so that's not going to help much, but let's just try. Problem is this side. Are you giving your bum to me now, Xidulu? Okay, let's try and see. So she's just going to sit. How's that, Vim? Right, so it's been a leopard madness day, and it sounds like the madness is continuing because there is another set of spots approaching Tingana. Well, it's not Kuchava, but it is Xidulu. They do look a little bit similar, so I can understand why. Now, apparently Steve, I think, said Xidulu, and Nick's got a bit confused with it, but she's just sitting on top of the most glorious mound in the most glorious light, having a little groom, and it is absolutely spectacular. We could not ask for anything better from her. I don't think so anyway. She's literally positioned herself in the best possible place for us to get a view of her kind of just being the queen of the west of Djuma at the moment. Look at that. There's afternoon golden light, termites, and a beautiful female leopard. There's very little more that you could ask for. Well, in my life anyway, there's little more that I could ask for. This is my happy place, is when I'm sitting like this with a leopard. So especially in afternoon light, and the light is just going to get better and better and better and better as she kind of sits there. It's starting to get into that kind of gold coloration now, which is exactly what you want. So Sokadash, no cubs yet for Xidulu. She's still a younger female. Remember, she's about 4 years old, so she hasn't actually had a chance to have cubs yet. She's kind of mated a little bit with Hukamuri, but so far no cubs as yet. And I'm excited to see when she does have them, or when she falls pregnant, where exactly she's going to den, because at the moment she's pushing deeper and deeper and deeper into Djuma and spending more and more time here. Is that going to mean that she's going to choose a den site on Djuma? Will we get another leopard cub on this side, or more? You never know. She might have 2, she might have 3. It's going to be interesting to see. But how beautiful is that? Look at that. That is absolutely amazing. From one incredible sight, let's send you back across to Taylor with, well, the cheeky little Hosanna and his dad. With Xidulu, and she is looking, well, stunning on top of this mound. There's no other way to put it, and the light on her is just magic. It is this kind of golden, peachy kind of light that she's got on her, and it is, well, one situations where you just sit and you actually admire the kind of beauty of what you get to see on a day-to-day basis. And the fact that we get to share it all with you guys is probably one of the best parts about it, is that she's sitting here, and it's, you know, we have you guys all around the world with us watching that, and that's a very special thing. You know, it feels as though we're sharing a very kind of special moment. In fact, many special moments this afternoon. If you think of Taylor and what she's seeing, that's stuff that many people would write is impossible, and yet we have seen it with Tingana and Hosanna how many different times, where they just seem to kind of come together. And Tingana obviously is not that happy about it, but he tolerates her, and it's just an incredible thing. I mean, him, should I say, and tolerates Hosanna, and it's amazing to me that he does. It's just incredible to kind of witness. So we've been spoiled, that's for sure. There's not really much else you can say. 5 leopards in a day is ridiculous. So Costa, not really. I mean, the leopard population in the area is pretty much the way that it was a few months ago. It's just that we've got so many new leopards, and that a lot of the females are currently having cubs, or currently have cubs. So, you know, we've got a situation where we've got Kuchava with cub, Tandi with cub, Shadow with cub, and then you've got Xidulu who's arrived on the scene. You've got a situation where we've got all these new young males. So we're just having a good run at the moment. We've really had a spectacular summer when it comes to leopards. We've been spoilt, and it doesn't always go like this. We don't always have these kind of sort of times and these purple patches where we get to see so many leopards the way that we're seeing them now. But look at her, she's glowing from this light. It is insanely good light. Yes, girl, you really do know how to pose. Viam and I said following her has been like following a model on a fashion shoot. She's just literally goes up onto branches and onto termite mounds, and everywhere that she can pose, she does. It's pretty crazy. Yes, Joy, it does. So female leopard urine will smell just like the male's does. It'll have that same pungent popcorn smell to it. So it's the same for both male and female. I don't actually notice a difference in the sort of pungency, if we want to call it, or the strength of the smell. It seems to be very similar between both male and female. This is good. This is very good. This makes me happy, and like I say, hopefully it makes all of you happy. I know many of you are leopard nuts like I am, and I'm not afraid to admit it, but we are being spoilt this afternoon with leopards, and so while we sit and admire Xidulu, let's send you back across to, well, the curious Hosana in Tingana. Well, Taylor, I don't think this is a fair competition because, well, look at that. There is a leopard with a sunset behind it. That is as good a sunset as one could ever wish for in my book. Look at her. She's kind of just perched on top as though this is my kingdom. You will not come up my mound, and I am going to gaze upon the sun setting while I sit here. Isn't that cool? Look at that beautiful big orange sun behind her. Amazing. So Viam always tells me, he's like, I just want to get a backlit leopard with the sun setting and the leopard above. And well, Wildy, I think we've won today, haven't we, Wildy? Wildy is happy, which is good. So absolutely beautiful to have that. That is as good as it gets. I mean, it looks like the sky's on fire, and that she's kind of just staring into it is even better. I think that's pretty much the best sunset I've had on Djuma. Not from a point of view of clouds, but this is the first time we've actually managed to get a kind of cat up against this very orange sky. Actually, I lie. I've had Hosana against an orange sky, but there was a lot more kind of trees and things in the way of him that didn't allow for as nice a sort of view as what we're getting with her right now. Like I say, she's a model cat. She likes to pose, that's for sure. So First Lady, she's a young girl, and she's stocky and she's big. So she's probably stockier than, I would put her stockier than Thandi and Shadow. It's going to be interesting to see how big she actually gets. At the moment, she's kind of the same size, if not maybe even a little bit bigger already. And that's how you make yourself comfortable in a termite mound. You just flop your legs down, tail down, and look at that. Isn't that very cool? Well done, girl. You've found yourself the most perfect spot to sit and enjoy. And she's probably gazing upon the sunset just like we are and thinking that's a beautiful kind of look. Wow. Very cool. The only thing that could be better is if she was facing us rather than facing that way, because we're just getting her backside, but still absolutely beautiful nonetheless. I think it's a good time for a one-word tweet. So, hashtag Safari Live or YouTube chat, what do you think of this? What do you think of this sunset with the leopard in front of it? One-word tweet, go. So we can hear all of your one-word tweets and find out what you guys actually think. I think that that's absolutely perfect, is what my one word would be. You can see the sun's just now starting to go behind her head a little bit, so a little bit further and it'll be kind of completely down behind her head, and we'll lose that sort of bright orange ball, but the sun, the sort of sky itself will be absolutely brilliant once she's kind of up there. So we're going to have a really nice situation fairly shortly, and should be absolutely beautiful. Nope, down she goes. She posed for long enough and then she decided that's it. Vildy? Happy. Vildy's happy. Not often you get a happy from Vildy with a thumbs up, so Vildy's very happy, which is excellent news. Nikki, what do you think? Nikki's been very quiet. I don't know if she wants to say something and weigh in on our sighting. Amazing. You were telling Taylor how amazing our sighting is. So did we win, Nikki? I feel like we won that sunset. That sunset challenge, I feel like we won the sunset challenge. The waterbuck is a good one for sunsets. I also like waterbuck. I agree with you, because waterbuck with their furry coat catches the sun really nicely, and you get a sort of situation where you get lots of light on a waterbuck. So I also do like a waterbuck. Are you going to go into a tree, Xidulu? Are you going to give us one last treat? Where's she gone? Oh, there she is. She's chasing something. So she's running after something. I don't know what it is. She went up a tree and then just started running. There she is. She's straight in front of us. Look, she's chasing something. So what it is, I'm not quite sure. I can't see what she's running after, but there's definitely something that she's chasing. So what she's been doing is, that's probably why she got off the mound. It's not because she was uncomfortable. It's because she's decided she's going to start hunting again. So there she is there, just in front of us. What have you seen, girl? It just hasn't stopped with her today. She has been an absolute rock star this afternoon. Made for TV, this one, I think. She's never seems to disappoint when it comes to an epic sighting. Let's see now where she's going to go. She's looking in this direction like she's spotted. I can't see anything, but that's because it's just such long grass that for us it's almost impossible. At least she has the advantage that she can hear and she can smell. And her sense of hearing and smell is far better than what ours would be at all. Right, now, I don't think Xidulu is right on the back of this animal at the moment, so we're going to sit with her a little bit, see if she gets kind of closer. While we do that, let's send you back to Taylor and enjoy those beautiful sun rays on Chitwa Dam. Indeed we do. So this is the amazing thing, from the beauty of a dam that is full of diversity in South Africa to one of the absolute treasures that we have in this country, the spotted cats known as the leopard. And this female is busy stalking through the grass at the moment. We've been with her most of the afternoon. She's been trying to hunt. She's been trying to catch all kinds of little antelopes and scrub hares. And she's been sneaking and slinking around and smelling and sniffing and trying to find all kinds of different things. And it's now at this time of the day that scrub hares come out. But I think she's lost whatever she was chasing, because she was running after something and then she stopped. And I think now she's just striding off. But let's see, she might come out on the other side there and we might have a situation where she's going to carry on hunting a little bit. I just want to check where she goes from here. Now, as Taylor mentioned, my name is Tristan on camera. I've got VM this afternoon, and it is a very warm welcome to all of you that have joined us. Hopefully you are loving the fact that we are coming to you live from South Africa. It is a very epic place to be on safari. Now look, she stopped again, so she's listening. You see, she goes into a very interesting mode when she hunts. She'll stop and she'll listen, and she'll try and use her ears, her nose, her whiskers, every part of her sort of senses to try and pick up any slight movements in the grass. Now a leopard is a very opportunistic hunter, so it's going to go after anything. It's going to go after birds, you can go after lizards, snakes, all the way up to even baby elephants. And so what she's doing is she's trying to spook and trying to get animals to run out that she can then chase. And watch how she walks and puts her foot down very carefully. So Cindy, guided tours is obviously it depends on where you go. Some tours that go into some parts of South Africa will be all-day tours that you'll go out from early in the morning all the way through the day. That tends to be in places like the Kruger Park and places like that. But in terms of our guided tours and what we do, we are out for 3 hours in the morning and 3 hours in the evening. So we come out at sunrise and then we go out again for the sunset. And that's because it's the peak period for animal activity here in South Africa. We have a beautiful climate, and that makes it the perfect time to head out. Now, I want to just try and kind of keep up with her because she's just slinking through this thicket. I don't know if maybe there's something on the other side that she's going towards. Let's just try and have a little look. Betty, you say gorgeous. Well, the whole thing has been gorgeous. We've got a beautiful female leopard. You've had amazing views of Chitwa Dam, one of our incredible lodges that we have here in the Sabi Sands, and now a leopard that is slinking through. And you can see she's not fazed by us at all. She's in a situation where she's trying to find food more than anything else. Now there she goes. She's just looking. So, Robin, you say, wow, amazing, you love this. Well, Robin, if you love this, you can join us every single day, twice a day. You just Google Safari Live and you'll be able to catch up with us on various different platforms. So if you're enjoying it, we hope to see you more. And it is, like we say, interactive, which means that you can ask questions. Right, she's going to carry on. Doesn't look like she's stalking anything just yet. She's on the road. So we're going to carry on following her. But it's been an absolute pleasure to have you, and hopefully we'll see you all soon. Right, so we are back and normal pace and normal style, and well, Xidulu is just ambling down the road. Has she not just been the most spectacular cat this afternoon? She has really given more than any of us could have asked for. I still think she's hunting. I still think she's looking for food, but she's doing this technique where she's going to walk the road and she's going to try and get into a situation where she's going to try and sniff things out or hear things out. Good. There's another 2 cars that are joining us now. So, you know, we've come out onto the road and there's a couple other cars that want to join us. So we're going to give them a little space and let them go in front, given that we've just had the most epic afternoon and kind of seen a lot of her this afternoon. So we very kind of fortunate to have had that, and so we're going to let them kind of go forward as she kind of ambles down the road. Oh, she's actually going to go drink. Hold on, Vildy. She's going to drink. Let's try and just punch through here quickly. So I think she's going to have a little drink out of a little pan that's right here. So I want to just try and get through. Oh, lots of water. She's going to drink right here, Bim. This is going to be absolutely beautiful. Oh, there's so much grass in the way. It's a pity there's so much grass, because otherwise it would have been absolutely perfect. Look, she's having a drink right in front of us, so we would have had it epically. But the grass is raining a little bit, but it's still nice. It's still very, very kind of pleasant, and we still have a situation where we can see her. Now, I'm going to just try and see... No. There we go. Now, for spot pattern purposes, anybody that was wondering about spots, so let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So she's 5'5". So I said, what did I say, 4'5" or 5'5", didn't I? I think somewhere there. But I definitely know that she had 5 on the left, but she's a 5'5" female. So she's got, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4 there on the bottom sort of row, and then one little spot on top. And then on the other side, she has a very similar situation as well. It's interesting with leopards. You get a lot of 5'5", you get a lot of 3s, a lot of 3'5", a lot of those combinations. 4, it doesn't seem to be a very popular number, and 1 is not very popular. 2, 3, and 5 tend to be very popular. I once saw a leopard in the Kruger National Park that was had a 7 spot pattern on top, which is also very odd, and don't see that very often. So there's some interesting examples out there of different spots. But for those of you that don't really know what I'm talking about those spots that are just above the whiskers. So she's got this kind of, you see where the whiskers come out, they're these black bars. And then just above those black lines, basically, there's little spots between the nose and those black lines. So those are the spots that I'm referring to. And I'm sure Steve can maybe show us a good example. If he can find a picture of a leopard, he'll be able to go through it really in depth, where he can point out exactly which spots I'm talking about. That's the nice thing about being in the tent, is you can pull this out. I'm not surprised she's so thirsty, though. It's been a marathon effort from her today. She's really gone after a lot of different things and walked in the heat. So I'm not surprised that she's drinking as much. Molly, I'm afraid your house cat would be a snack for a leopard or a big cat. They will love to eat them, I'm afraid. So unfortunately, if you had any ideas of your cats making friends with a leopard, unfortunately that's not going to happen. She will literally just wolf them down without a second sort of moment's thought about it. Leopards are notoriously bad for domestic animals. They go, what do you want, girl? Do you want to come say hello again? And you see, she's now coming to us again to say hello. They're notoriously bad when it comes to domestic animals in the way that they eat them. Dogs, cats, goats, sheep, cows, anything really that's domesticated, a leopard will take. Right. One last push before she crosses out into Arethusa. I think she's going to be maybe 10 minutes if she kind of holds this course, and I don't even know if we're going to be able to follow her through here, but we'll try. And so while we do that, let's send you back to Steve and see if he's maybe managed to pick up a picture to show you those spots a little bit more in depth. Well, she's literally not even 20 meters now from the boundary, just going straight towards it. So we're going to pop out onto the road in the next 2 seconds. So she's just on my left-hand side now. There she is. Let's just quickly shoot forward. She's going to pop out on the road just in front of us here. So there she goes. She's going to cross the road, and off she goes into Arethusa, so she's found something. Look, she's stalking. I don't know what she's stalking at the moment, but let's see. Ears are flat, and she's gotten into a leopard-like pose. I'm going to sneak forward slightly because she's going straight towards something. Let's see. What has she spotted? So she's definitely spotted something. It's inside Arethusa is what she spotted, but look, she's looking in that direction. There. There's a duiker right there. Do you see it? There's a duiker right in front of the tree. Has no idea that she's there. Look, she's sneaking through the bush. How cool is this? Not every day that you can see her kind of just going in behind. Now, the chances of her seeing that is crazy. Look at how she's gotten low in the bush to be able to try and kind of creep forward. The duiker is obviously looking in this direction because it can kind of see, look, she's going closer. The duiker is walking straight towards her. It's walking straight towards her at the moment. It's just behind that bush, coming this direction. Now, I'm going to try and see if I can sneak forward for VM. I don't want the duiker to run, so I'm just going to try and sneak a little forward for VM. So Vildi, just on the right underneath that bush at the moment is where it was. See, she's just got her head up watching. I don't know if she's going to get this right, unfortunately. Very little bush between where she is and where that duiker is. I've lost the duiker though, I can't see. So I know a lot of you are crossing fingers and are hoping that she gets it this time. Well, to be honest, it's not going to be ideal because she's going to chase it deep into Arethusa and we probably won't see her or her take down this animal because of where she's kind of heading. So it's not the most ideal situation, but she does need to eat and we need to consider the fact that she needs a meal. Although she had a meal, I believe, yesterday morning. She had something, but it was stolen by hyenas, so she didn't get much of it, unfortunately. But she's still edging forward. She has been persistent today, hasn't she? So no matter what happens, she's definitely tried her very, very best to be able to catch some sort of food item. So, Pisces, Bobby, you're saying, oh my gosh. Yes, everybody is almost listening as though we are. There she goes, she's dropping her head a little bit. I don't know where that duiker is. It's somewhere up ahead of where she is. So we might see her just bolting from here and just kind of running in that direction. But whether or not we're going to see anything, I'm not quite sure. We're going to switch to infrared. So if it does go into that black and white, or even green, should I say, with the Z150s, then you'll know what's going on. But she is moving around the bush. I wonder if she's going to chase back towards us. So look at her sneaking. Look at how she gets low to the ground. Isn't this amazing to watch? Look at you, girl. You're being very sneaky. But we are going to lose her shortly. There's unfortunately a situation where it's going to be incredibly difficult to be able to follow her any further. She's going into a thicket. No, she's behind there now. And unfortunately think we're not going to see much more. It's also getting darker and darker and darker, and that means that we've got a situation where we're not seeing very much. And if I can't see her, and I don't really know where she goes, and she's slinking through the grass, it's going to be very difficult. Vim, can you still see her moving or not? She's left of frame. Okay, cool. So Vim's on it, so I shouldn't even have to ask. And there you can just see her spots, yeah. Her spots are just on the left-hand side, moving towards the sort of center of the frame. So she's just edging forward. Let's see, you saw with the duiker earlier that they just bolt in. So whichever way it bolts might be the way that she runs. So maybe she runs back towards us and we'll have a situation where she chases back in towards this area. You never know. But how exciting has this afternoon been? It's been amazing. There's been literally something for everybody. It's been insane. From leopards meeting and interacting to leopardess hunting, posing. We've had Steve in the tent, who, well, is not a leopard, but I'm sure he could do a good leopard impression. And so it's all been happening this afternoon. But she's just kind of edging away from us a little bit further. It's very difficult to see. There she goes, she ran. So I just heard the duiker run and her run, but I can't see where she is. So she ran, I think, deeper into Arethusa. Let me just go back for you, Vim, and just see. She definitely went after whatever it was and had a chance and had a try. Vim, if you see anything, let me know. So, I don't know. Fortunately, think that maybe, just maybe, we have lost visual of her. I don't see any more signs. Have you got her? VM, so VM's got her. Like I say, I shouldn't not trust VM kind of moving off. But she is doing deeper into Arethusa, so we're going to lose her right now. Whew. How was that? That is absolutely ridiculous. What an incredible sighting that we've had this afternoon. She's really been a special, special cat. We've been thoroughly spoiled this afternoon. So let's just try to go back. It sounds like she might be heading back towards the road, actually. Let's just give this one more minute here, Nikki, and just see. It's unfortunately on the main road, so it's going to get a bit chaotic. Let's see. No, I can't see her, Vim. Let's just get our lights out. So, Nikki, are you picking favorites now? Ooh, you must be careful which favorite you pick. So, Nikki's saying always been quarantined, but he hasn't seen her in so long that it's maybe, well, him, should I say, that now maybe Xidulu's moved up the list, given her tendencies to be a very accurate, well, active, should I say, I don't know why I said accurate, active leopard. Guys, it's very busy here. There's so many cars. I think I'm going to make some space for all the cars that are here and let others kind of join. It is on the main road. We have had a ridiculously good sighting, so we don't want to kind of sort of block everything up, and let's rather let everybody else have a chance, and we'll kind of carry on. Although there she is right there. Hold on. Let's see one last look. You can just see her just moving away from me, Vim. So I don't know if we're going to get much more of her, but she's just behind this bush. I think we might be a bit low now. Vim, can you see her there? She's kind of striding parallel with us at the moment, so there she goes, kind of walking off. Good, we couldn't leave it with a bad visual. We had to get at least a decent one as she walked off and slinked through the grass. Good, while we carry on and while we revel in the success that has been this afternoon, let's send you back across to Taylor, who's also had an equally epic day today. She is living up to her name, so she went on this nice termite mound and is giving a really nice silhouette, so we thought we'd just stop one last time as she kind of just plopped down onto this termite mound and just having a bit of a rest. You can see she's breathing heavy. It's a hot, muggy evening, and so I'm not surprised that she's a little on the tired side given the amount of activity that she's done in the last little bit. So just sitting, and you've got the beautiful sunset colors in the background there. There's a little bit of cloud on top of the mountains and her kind of silhouetted up against that. It would have been nice if she had stood up there, because it would have been even better, but it's quite an epic silhouette and sky to have her on. It's very, very cool. So she's just taking a break. I don't think she's going to be on there for very long. I'm pretty sure we're going to have a situation where she's in all likelihood going to move fairly sort of shortly. It's much like what she did just now, where she sat for a little bit and then decided to carry on. So I think it's going to depend on kind of if maybe she spots something, maybe she spots something else, she might decide to move. But for the meantime, maybe, just maybe, she's going to sit for a little longer. Seems like she's still down, but she is looking around quite a bit, so I would imagine that there will be more duiker in Steenbok, and she is going to definitely carry on hunting throughout the night. She's kind of been in that mode the whole time this afternoon, has been looking for anything that moves. But it must have been another close call for that duiker, because she was right on its tail at one point, and we heard the thud of the duiker sort of running along and bounding down the road, or through the bush, should I say, and her kind of in pursuit. But not that one, and it just goes to show this leopard has a tough life to find food. It's not easy at all in terms of finding food and looking for food. They have a situation where they've got to attempt it many, many times until they get a meal. Now, what is out this evening is mosquitoes. Have you noticed lots of mosquitoes? Yes, there are lots of them landing all over me at this stage. So VM's just gone into infrared just to try and see if we can get a bit of a clearer picture. We're losing light rapidly now, so it's really difficult for us to actually see much, and so that's why we just went into a bit of a sort of infrared moment, but there you can see her kind of sitting on top of the mound. Good. Now there are some other cars that are coming here that are able to go into Arethusa, so I think we'll give way to them. Like I said, we just wanted to get one last view of her and allow her to be kind of seen up against a beautiful backdrop. So